Hey, it's Andre. It's time for another Friday Flying Update. I'm home. It's cold. I miss Florida. That's right. I've been back in Ottawa since Monday, and it has been freezing cold. I broke out the big parka, the jacket I normally don't wear until like January. Well, it was out today. Minus 20 with 30-kilometer-hour winds, so it's been a little ridiculous. The rest of the week is starting to look, or into the weekend, starting to warm up a little bit, so it should be a little better. And don't know about flying because tomorrow is November 11th. I should have a poppy on, but it didn't really work with the t-shirt. So tomorrow is obviously in Canada Remembrance Day and the U.S. Veterans Day. So I don't think I'll be out to the park. Sunday morning we have a podcast. So again, I think I'm going to be busy. And the weather is just not flyable. But I do have a couple things to test out and play with from Motion RC. This is the Tech 1 ME163 Comet, and I don't know how long this aircraft is going to survive me based on the F-16 experience, but it should be pretty good. It's a 3S 2200 kind of style airplane. Very simple, really. If you look at the design, wow, that's got a good canopy on it, actually. There we go. It's comparable to a lot of the flying little wings we see. It's just, it's ailerons with the elevator mixed into them, and no rudder or anything like that. So I've got a feeling it's going to fly a lot like some of these wings that we play with. It's just a a tractor style versus a pusher setup. And I'm like, geez, I wonder if I should try an FPV this thing later on after I get a few flights in it. So I will do some photography work on it and snap some photos. Chris has actually got the red one, which looks pretty sweet, but I went with the camouflage for a little difference. But I might have to try some FPV once I get some flying done with it. So again, it is Tech 1 from Motion RC. And also, Motion RC did send along this FPV wing 900 millimeters, and it looks pretty cool. The center pod alone is very striking, and it's got an F80 motor, which is 2500 kV, and it's spinning a 3-bladed prop. I haven't even taken any of the components out of the box yet, but nice prop, servos, and everything. So this is the almost ready to fly. So I'll strap 2 servos into these guys and get going. Sorry, 2 receivers, and it's got a decent looking. That's almost a 6S rated, 2 to 6S B heli. It looks like it's a 45 amp ESC, so there's some pretty neat kit behind this setup. So it's got a camera isolation pad for your action cam and everywhere for you to fit your FPV gear. So it should be kind of neat to set this guy up and go flying. And I think this one's going to be flying on a 4S setup. So that's going to be screaming fast. So again, for Motion RC, this is the FPV Wing 900 millimeters. So I look forward to putting that together. I mean, it's a pretty neat little kit. Comes with your servos and all your straps and your spars and some tape. And it looks like some spars are already cut into the wing. So I'm looking forward to that. When I was at Flight Fest this week, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I picked up for myself the little RunCam Mini. This is the, so I remind myself, this is the Swift Mini. And if I find my normal Swift, there you go, the difference. Well, the color tone is a little different from some of the earlier models, obviously, and the camera is obviously a little smaller, so I figured I'd pick myself up. And this one actually has the 2.3 millimeter lens, which should be okay. I really am kind of curious about their Switch 2 and stuff like that with the DVR. Now, the other weekend I was out flying. I had the GT90 going, and I sat down to fly with my Fat Sharks Attitude V2s, and couldn't get any reception. I plug in the video from another source, and it was fine. So I think the receiver's gone. So I have a Realtek or whatever they're called. I have a receiver that I picked up from Banggood ready to go. The boards, the receiving boards, the headers have not arrived, so I haven't even bothered to set this stuff up or even look at this guy. But basically, my big beef with that Fat Shark setup was the fact that every time I wanted to change bands, I had to get in there with a dip switch. And when the board, actually, I'd ordered this before the board let go, so now it's a no-brainer. When I was at Flight Fest, I almost picked up a set of Dominators, with the HD3s, but I was just, do I really want to spend $600 on another set of goggles, right? So I said, now let's try and fix this. So here we go. Now I've seen this modification done to the Attitudes, and look at that. Look how tiny that thing is. So I will put the header board in to the board, and I have a file that I can print to put the put a cover over it. So I will be doing some mods to the Attitudes, and now I'll be able to go through and toggle bandwidth and everything. And this one apparently has the IR receivers, so I guess there's a wand that you can work with and everything. So lots of options for the future. So it was kind of a spontaneous thing. It was on sale, so I said, what not? Let's pick it up and go from there. So that'll be a mod as soon as the header board comes in, and then I can determine, hopefully it's just the receiver actual module itself that's failed on the Fat Sharks and not the actual board itself, and I'll have to go and get a service board from Fat Shark support. So there we go. Sunday podcast. I will put the notice up on the Facebook page so everybody knows that we're going on the air about 8:30, 9 o'clock usually, and we'll go from there. I'm Andre. Have a fantastic weekend. If you're going out to the memorial services, good for you. I'll be out with my dad at the local service here. So have a fantastic weekend. Thank you.